Hi, everyone. Bill Rentschler in the 1011 Now streaming studio. It is the end of November, getting towards the end of November, and once every month we like to sit down with LTU Director Liz Elliot, and kind of figure out and find out what's going on with Lincoln Transportation and Utility. So, last couple months we've talked about a lot of different things: streets, winter operations, and today, maybe not super exciting, but we're going to be talking about money. We're going to be talking about all the money that goes into maintaining Lincoln Streets, repairing Lincoln Streets. So, Liz, thank you so much for joining us today. I just want you to know I've done many segments with many different people. You are the first to come from outside the building to join me in the streaming studio.
This is so exciting. It's so official, and it's fun to actually be here in person. Much better than Zoom.
Zoom is nice, but can be even nicer. So I kind of teed it up a little bit, but we're talking about money today. Super important. Streets don't fix themselves.
Right.
And so can you kind of give us, I guess, maybe the 30,000-foot view of what we're going to talk about today?
It is. You know, money is never super exciting, but I think most of the questions we often get revolve around money, budgets, those types of things. And so Lincoln Transportation and Utilities is funded a little different than most city departments, and most of our funding does not come from general revenue. So what I often hear are people saying, I paid my property taxes, why did I just hit that pothole?
Yes,
totally
you probably heard me say that before too.
I think I have probably said that a few times. But what people don't realize is that over 90% of our budget is from other sources, not general fund. And so on our budget, looking at the whole LTU, is a little over 75% are user fees.
Okay.
So that is your water bills, your wastewater, what you pay to your garbage haulers. And then the next big chunk of funding comes from state or federal funding. That makes up about 11 to 12% on any given year. And then we have a bunch of other little stuff. General fund, wheel tax, those are predominantly, as long as also some borrowing that we do.
So we have a lot of charts and graphs for folks
We
today.
do.
So if you're a charts or graphs lover, this is going to be the segment for you, because it's a lot of good information. It's good to know. You know, I told you just before we started, I just paid my registration, the wheel tax. Where does all that money go? Sometimes we think it doesn't go anywhere, but it really does go places.
It really does. And in fact, I would invite everybody to go to Lincoln Transportation and Utilities website. Go to the transportation, and if you scroll to the bottom, we have a fact sheet. We actually have a fact sheet about where does your wheel tax go, and it gets down to the penny. So very interesting. If you really want to dig into it, we have done that. But looking kind of a deep dive into the transportation budget, our overall transportation budget on any given year is right about $95 million. This year, I think it's just a little over $96 million. And so that has to go to, like you said, the operating and maintenance. We can't just build it and leave it. We have to maintain it. We have to clear the snow, fix the potholes, those types of things.
Well, and it's something that's, you're getting people where they need to go 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, in the rain, in the snow. Can you explain where the city's funding comes for our streets, traffic signals, maintenance, and more, which I think leads us to the second graphic here.
It does. And as you can see on this, the green piece of pie here, the largest part is the state funding, the highway allocation fund. And we probably know this a little better as gas tax.
Okay.
So every time you go to the gas pumps,
Okay.
that goes to the state, and then they give us a little portion of that. The next big portion is the wheel tax that we've talked about, and everyone pays annually if you live here in the city. And then the yellow piece of pie, the next two big parts of our funding are borrowing, the bonds that we borrow and have to pay back. And then the investment that our community chose to invest in 2019, which is what we call Lincoln on the Move.
Yeah.
And that's made a huge impact.
And that was remind me, was it a quarter cent?
It was a quarter-cent sales tax.
Okay.
And the good thing about the quarter-cent sales tax is that it's not just Lincoln residents paying it. This is everybody coming in, using our streets, whether you're attending.
So if you're in for a football game,
Yes,
or
you're helping
wherever.
pay for this.
And then there's a few other smaller little bits there into that pie chart. But the one thing that we wanted to talk about, really wanted to hammer home today, is the purple here. That's the Lincoln on the Move.
That is, Lincoln on the Move has really made a significant impact on our transportation. And so in 2019, when this was approved by the voters, it was determined and agreed upon by our community that we really wanted to focus in existing streets and those capital improvement projects, not the snow removal, not the street sweeping, but actually rehabilitating or reconstructing or building roads. And so this chart shows that 73.5% of Lincoln on the Move funding goes to existing streets, and then 25% goes to growth, so new streets, things that don't exist.
Yeah.
And then a little bit goes to a partnership that we have with the Railroad Transportation Safety District, and it's for a project at 33rd and Cornhusker.
Okay. And so this funding only lasts for a couple more years. Is that correct?
That is correct. It does expire in 2025. It was just a 6-year investment.
So we could see something show up on the ballot maybe in a couple years to maybe extend something like this. Would you say that might be a possibility?
It's something that we want to have a conversation with the community about and see, is this something that they are really seeing the benefits of, and would they like to extend it? So I definitely think that conversation will be in our future.
Now, and then Lincoln on the Move is just a small piece of the overall city's sort of capital improvement program.
Correct.
Can you kind of dive into how all that works?
Absolutely. So of our total CIP, we call CIP as our capital improvement project. Everything that's not operating and maintenance. So this is the major projects that you're seeing on 84th Street or 23rd and Potter, those repavements, those types of projects. This one has added, and again, it depends on each year, but of our CIP, of our total budget, Lincoln on the Move makes up about 18% roughly. And then of our CR, if we just focus down to our CIP budget, it's even a bigger portion.
Okay.
This year we did 7 projects with our normal funding, and we were able to double that and did another 7 projects with Lincoln on the Move funding. So we were able to double the number of projects this year.
And I think this is the map of the projects. There's a lot of yellow and green on here. Can you kind of tell me what we're looking at here with the colors?
I love this map because the green represents the projects that we did with our normal funding, that highway allocation, our bonds.
Just regular stuff.
Regular stuff. The yellow highlights all of the Lincoln on the Move projects that we've been able to do.
Oh my gosh.
So if you can imagine Lincoln without Lincoln on the Move, the next slide will show you that's all we would have been able to do had the community not chosen to invest in Lincoln on the Move. It has made a tremendous
That's a stark contrast of the, and again, not all of it's necessarily super big stuff, but some of it's just like, hey, you needed a street repaved, and it's going to be nice and repaved, and
well, and so potholes come. We live in a freeze-thaw world, as you know better than anybody.
Yes.
And the street's kind of like our skin. It dries out, it cracks. When the water starts to melt, it seeps in, it freezes, that expands, cars drive on it, and it breaks down the potholes. And that's why you don't see them in Florida. It's warm.
Yeah.
They never freeze-thaw, those types of issues.
Jerks.
But if we can keep that our streets sealed, kind of like lotion on our skin and preventative maintenance, we will be able to keep the streets longer and not have to do so many reconstruction and rehab projects.
And so again, yellow, Lincoln on the Move projects completed. Green, this is just normal stuff that's in the budget. So again, huge difference there in being able to do a ton of different projects. So I have already looked at this, but you guys have the Lincoln on the Move report.
We do.
That's on the web.
Yes, so we have a whole website dedicated to this where people can go and learn more about Lincoln on the Move and where this has gone. Each year in December, we do an annual report to show where the funding has been invested. We're here in the next few weeks, we'll be releasing our annual report as well, and hopefully we can come back and go a little deeper into the specific projects that you might have seen around town and where that money is being invested.
And you can look at previous reports. I just have the website pulled up. This is the city website. And again, there's a ton of great stuff on here.
There is.
We've talked about this before in our previous segments, but if you're just even curious about projects, things that are going on,
Yes.
this is the place to go.
This is, and actually if you go up, you see that search bar that you have on the website here, and if you just type in projects.
Ooh, I don't know if I can actually type on
Yeah,
here.
and if someone goes, they type in projects, and it actually will pull up Lincoln Transportation Utility Projects. And it will pull up all of the projects going on in the city, and it could be transportation, it could be water, it could be wastewater, or bus stop improvements. And it will just show you how much work is really going on. Or if you have a question about, hey, when is Randolph Street going to be done? It should show up there on that project, and you'll be able to dive into that a little bit deeper.
Ton, I mean, literally a ton of stuff on here that you could just sift through.
For hours.
For a good long time. And on top of that, again, and we've mentioned this before, but everything that you're doing as far as winter operations, that's all right here as well.
It is.
You may have an enthusiastic 7-year-old like I do at home who likes to track snowplows. This is the place to send them.
This is, and we try and keep it as updated as possible, so it should be real time. If we know a project schedule is going to change or the budget's changing, we update it on the website to keep people informed.
I don't want to put you on the spot here, Liz, but I want to ask you, how is the Name a Snowplow contest going? This was not on our list of kind of things that we were going to talk about, but I love the contest, and I need to know a little more.
You know, I was so impressed with the responses that we've had. We got, I think, 10 times what I expected to be getting. So the team is starting to go through, trying to narrow it down, but there are some really fun, cool names out there.
Because that's going to be coming up here in just like a week or two, isn't it? That we're going to
is.
release the list of names that you guys have kind of pre-selected.
Yes.
And we'll be able to vote on them.
Yes.
Man, I really want to see this list. There's going to be some good stuff in there. So, all right, Liz. So, a lot of money talk today. Is there
Yes.
anything else that we want to make sure we let people know about before we let them go?
I think the biggest thing is just a huge thank you to our community, maybe in the spirit of Thanksgiving, that we really do appreciate the support and the investment that they're making, because it really is benefiting the community. And as you can see on the maps, and encourage people to check it out, Lincoln on the Move really is making a significant difference. And I just want to thank the community for their support, their patience during construction, and here's to hoping we have just a little bit of snow this year.
Hopefully just a little. Maybe just a little bit on Friday night, maybe Saturday. We'll see. But it looks like it's going to hold off
Good.
for the game.
I'm
So,
good with that.
Awesome. All right, Liz, again, as always, thank you so much for actually joining us in studio today. It's been a pleasure. We will talk again probably sometime in December. It's still November.
We still have one more month.
It's still November. I am ready for my Thanksgiving break. So, appreciate it again for joining us today. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in, for watching again. As always, keep it tuned to 1011, both on air and online, for all of your latest news, weather, and sports.